The IDF has moved deeper into Rafah as over 1 million Palestinian civilians have been evacuated from the area, just as Israel said they would be. This is allowing the IDF to operate freely against Hamas in the city, and rapid progress is being made. Meanwhile, an Israeli airstrike eliminated 4 Hezbollah operatives in Syria amidst heightened tensions in the north. But the question now arises as to whether Hamas is also making progress in their plan to reassert control of the Gaza Strip. Let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 229th day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, the Houthis, Iraqi Shiite militias, The Hague, and the list just keeps growing. I must start today's report with a disturbing quote from IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi, which confirms an earlier assessment by American intelligence. Standing inside the Jabalia neighborhood in the Gaza Strip on Tuesday morning, Halevi told reporters that we are in a war that we said at the beginning that it would be prolonged. Hamas spent years digging in here, preparing for this battle. It will not be dismantled in a week or in a month. The mission, as we have always said, is to neutralize as many commanders as possible, as many terrorists as possible, to destroy the infrastructure of Hamas. Also this week, the news website Politico published an assessment by American intelligence agencies saying that only about a third of the terrorist fighters in the Gaza Strip have been eliminated. The assessment also said that around 65% of the terror tunnels that were dug underneath the Gaza Strip have not yet been found and are still being used. It was also reported by a source familiar with the matter that government officials are increasingly concerned that Hamas is still recruiting young Palestinian men to fight in their ranks. The estimated number of new recruits is in the thousands just in the past few months, and this is allowing Hamas to continue their battle against the IDF. The picture that emerges from all of this is that the war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip will continue for a long time. It is a difficult and important job that will not be finished quickly. However, the Israeli public is becoming increasingly critical of the continued transfer of weapons and equipment into the Strip by Hamas, and the answer to this problem is mostly to be found in Rafah, where the IDF continues to search for smuggling tunnels that run underneath the border with Egypt. The IDF has deployed 4 brigades to hold the eastern neighborhoods of the city, including the above-ground Rafah crossing, while other forces continue to push further into the city. Denying Hamas the ability to smuggle weapons into Gaza through the tunnels that run under the border is a major strategic objective of this campaign. Another major objective is ensuring that the civilian population of the city is safely moved out of harm's way, and that has been nearly completed. According to the latest estimates, about 1 million people have been evacuated from Rafah so far. The IDF used the routes that had been used to move humanitarian aid into the city from the north, reversing the flow of traffic so that people could be moved into designated safe zones north of the city, where Israel has set up facilities for them to be housed and taken care of. This increased the IDF's freedom of movement and action in the city, while also removing the danger of humanitarian disaster. That, if we remember, was the main concern of the Americans and the source of their objections to the IDF operation in Rafah. Now that this concern has been addressed, it is to be hoped that the American objections to this necessary operation will end. This is a good place to mention that several international aid organizations assisted Israel in setting up these safe zones, bringing in large numbers of tents, food, and water, medical supplies that these civilians will need. The IDF has also set up field hospitals adjacent to the tent cities for the care of the residents. The IDF has a lot of experience running field hospitals in difficult conditions, since for many years Israel has always been among the first to send teams to assist in recovery from natural disasters such as earthquakes. However, it also needs to be mentioned that the closing of the Rafah crossing by the Egyptians at the beginning of the IDF operation prevented the direct entry of aid into Rafah. Therefore, on the orders of IDF Southern Command Major General Yaron Finkelman, the Kerem Shalom crossing was opened so that aid could be sent to Rafah from Israel. The very next day, 4 IDF soldiers from the Givati and Nachal brigades were killed by a barrage of rockets fired by Hamas at that crossing. It is important to highlight this incident as it shows who really is responsible for whatever shortages of humanitarian aid that exists inside the Gaza Strip. The IDF took steps to ensure that aid would be delivered to Rafah, while Egypt and Hamas both took steps to try and prevent it. However, the IDF is satisfied with the fact that the evacuation procedures went smoothly and rapidly, which allowed the forces to operate in Rafah in a short planned schedule and while reducing the presence of civilians that are not involved in the combat. Meanwhile, heavy explosions were heard in Rafah overnight. According to reports which appeared in Arab media portals, the explosions were the result of Israeli air and artillery strikes. This came amidst discussions in Israel about a significant expansion of operations in the region. Please take an active part in spreading the truth by subscribing to this YouTube channel. Please click on the follow button and share these videos with as many people as you can. This is a spiritual battle and we need your help in spreading the truth so that people will know how to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, which is what really makes a difference. If you'd like to receive more videos like this one, please consider making a financial donation by clicking the donate button on this YouTube channel or by going to our website at www.tbn.org/Israel. Now back to the report. There are signs that the truth about what is going on in Rafah is becoming impossible for Hamas to hide. A Gazan journalist shared last night on an Arab media portal that he saw Egypt as being responsible for the closing of the Rafah crossing for the entry of goods, while he gave credit to Israel for opening the Kerem Shalom crossing for the transfer of aid from Israel. The journalist spoke about the miracle caused by the entry of the goods from Israel. According to him, 55 trucks of goods that now enter every day from Israel through the Kerem Shalom crossing lower the prices of goods and of food in the Gaza market immediately, including goods which he defines as luxury items. He also pointed to the contrast, which was the effect of the entry of 700 to 1,000 trucks every day through Egypt, which was done in coordination between Egypt and Hamas. This journalist reported that this activity actually had the effect of raising prices since Hamas used its control of the goods to artificially manipulate the market. His report strongly implies that he believes Hamas made a lot of money off this practice at the expense of Gazan civilian residents, and that contrary to the American view on aid, the coordination between Hamas and Egypt actually harmed these civilians. That's why it's very important to share these videos on YouTube and follow us. So please subscribe to this YouTube channel and share with all your friends. We need people to know what really is happening so that the world will understand that Hamas is a terrorist organization that harms the Gazan civilians themselves. Turning now to Israel's northern front, the Hezbollah-controlled Lebanese media portal El Mayadin reported on Tuesday that 4 terrorists were eliminated by an Israeli drone strike on a truck in the city of El Qasayir in the province of Homs in central Syria. The truck was part of a network that Iran uses to smuggle weapons and ammunition to Hezbollah. Reports in other Arab media portals added that the air defense systems of the Syrian army were activated to respond to an Israeli attack on one of the sites in the Homs area. Explosions from the attack, as well as anti-aircraft missiles that were fired by the Syrian army, were reported as well, along with the dispatch of emergency response vehicles to the site. This is the latest report about Israel's efforts to strike at Hezbollah and other Iranian-backed militias, following reports earlier in the week about similar strikes on cars and motorcycles carrying senior Hezbollah field commanders and other operatives. This is an ongoing campaign that is largely being ignored by the world's media, but which is vitally important to the security and safety of the State of Israel. To conclude this report, I would like to ask all of you to please pray for good. Pray that evil will not win. Pray hard for the peace of Israel and for the peace of the IDF soldiers. Pray for the citizens that are affected by this terrorist organization and by all these wars. And most importantly, please pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.